Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. We have two great stories for today, and the first of them. Yes, I'm a computer geek, but I don't work here. I'm hoping for your likes, and let's get started. A little backstory. I'm 5'6", 180 pounds, and currently disabled, and have to walk with a cane. My cane is wood shaft with a solid pewter handle. This is important later. Prior to being disabled, I was always active and fit, in the military and in martial arts for years. I also have mild PTSD. I'm also a big-time computer geek and dabble in electronics, so I spend a lot of time in a computer parts store that's close to my work. One day, a fellow coworker asked if I could help him build a computer, so we headed over to the store. So there's me, coworker, CW, employee, E, fellow shopper, FS, manager, MG, cop 1 and 2, C1 and C2, raving lunatic wife, W, hulked out steroid husband, H. Me and coworker were going through the motherboards, CPU, and memory and discussing different stuff. FS overhears us and asks me a question about hard drives. I said, I'm sorry, but I don't work here. We're heading over there anyway, though. I can help you if you want. Fellow shopper. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you worked here. Me. No problem. What was your question? So we discuss various brands and speeds and stuff. He leaves me, and my coworker are about to go leave when we hear, "Excuse me, aren't you going to help us?" Coworker and I look at each other, and we're confused. So we turn around, and there's a man and woman in their mid-30s. She's fairly good-looking, but definitely a blonde from the bottle, and he was a huge, hulking mass of muscle. Me. Are you speaking to us? W. Yes. Don't you work here? The employees wear black pants with long-sleeve white button-down collar shirts and name tags. I'm in blue jeans and a light blue polo. Me. I'm sorry, but no, I don't. Interrupting me, she says, "Look, you effing P-word, you better help my wife. We wasted enough time waiting for you." Now, I don't like confrontations, but I also don't like to be pushed around, which is what he was trying to do. My coworker knows me very well and was trying to lead us away. He knows I don't put up with crap from anybody. Me. If you please stop interrupting me, I'm trying to tell you, I don't work here. I point to an employee who is at the end of the aisle. He does. Go ask him for help. W. Bull S. You helped that other guy. Me. He was polite and pleasant to deal with. You're acting like an entitled cheerleader who thinks she gets whatever she wants. Nothing against cheerleaders. My wife was one. W. Don't effing lie. We know you work here. Me. I'm not lying. I do not work here. Now excuse me and leave us alone. Me and my coworker turn to leave again when H grabs me by the shoulder and spins me around. I nearly lose my balance due to my disability. PTSD kicks into high gear. H jabs 2 fingers into my chest and starts to say something. I grab a hold of both fingers, twist and pull with a common self-defense technique. It's quite painful since it can and will break or dislocate fingers. This dropped him to his knees. Needless to say, he was shocked and not fully understanding what had happened. He tried to recover by headbutting me in the nards. I don't know why, but maybe he's into putting his head into other guys' balls? Remember my cane from earlier? I simply move it to intercept H's head. He slams his forehead into the edge of the pewter handle. He blinked a few times like he's seeing stars or Tweety birds and falls over backwards. I giggle a little every time I think about it. W starts yelling and screaming, "Help! Call the police!" repeatedly along with other profanities. E has seen the entire thing and tries to intervene and calm everyone down, but W's having none of it. W. I want that man fired now! He attacked me and my husband! MG has now arrived and is trying to figure out what the heck happened. Before I can say anything, W says I, his employee, attacked her and hubby. MG points to employee and said, "This employee?" W. No, moron, him, pointing at me. MG. He doesn't work here. W. What? He was helping other customers. H, who's now getting to his feet and has a goose egg of a knot right between his eyes, is now 50 shades of red and wanting revenge, but employee and MG are between us, so he resorts to throwing items from the shelves. I'm not sure if the police were close by or had been called at the first sign of trouble, but they show up minutes after the whole thing started. As soon as W sees the boys in blue, she goes into full hysterics and is now claiming I tried to rape her and hubby was defending her. I just shake my head and roll my eyes. Cop 1 is talking to me and coworker and E. Cop 2 talking to W, H, and MG. At some point, MG and C2 go to watch the CCTV footage. All the while, W and H are glaring at me and yelling, "You're going to effing jail," and such. C1 told them repeatedly to shut up or remain silent. I know they had the right to remain silent, but not the ability. Yes, I love the tater. FS walks back over and starts talking with C1. It turns out that they went to school together, and FS told him what he saw. C2 returns and tries to place H in cuffs. W goes into full-on B mode and grabs C2 by the arm and tries to bite him. C1 now tackles W, who does a full faceplant into the carpet. She ended up with a bloody lip, nose, and black eye. So W and H are both in cuffs, and C1 asks if I'd like to press charges. I'm usually not a mean or petty person, and I really enjoyed the show, but they deserve it. H ended up being charged with disorderly conduct, assault against disabled, resisting arrest, and vandalism. W was charged with assault against police officer and resisting arrest. MG and employee offer us a huge discount for our troubles. In the end, I would have helped them if they would have asked nicely. I've been back to the store several times and always joke with the employee and MG about it. And our second story. Karen expects a 15-year-old kid to do everything for her precious daughter. Ah, Karens. I never thought I would meet one in the wild, but I did. K is Karen, Katie is Karen's daughter, and M is me. At this time, I had pretty much just turned 15. So this story takes place at a small art store near my home. This store is fairly small and only has 3 employees working in it. I really like to draw, so I come into the store maybe once every second week, and me and the 3 employees were on fairly good terms. I had just gotten off school, and since it was a pretty nice day out, I decided to take a slightly longer way home so I could stop by the art store. I was walking the entire way with my headphones on, blasting some music, and I kept them on in the store. I did quiet the music down a lot, so if anyone needed to say something to me, I'd hear it. Now, this store didn't have a lot of customers at once. I think the most I've seen is 5, including me. And this day was no different. There was a guy maybe a few years older than me looking at some paint markers, and then there was the Karen and her daughter. I didn't think anything of them since they weren't doing anything yet. I quickly went to the section with a bunch of sketching pencils and began picking out the ones I needed. Now, I'm a person that hates all confrontation. I'll avoid it at all costs. I get nervous and stressed easily, so if someone tries to annoy me, I'll try to ignore it. Karen's daughter appears in the end of the shelf I'm looking at. She looks at me for a while before walking up to me. She tugs on my shirt. I look down at her and take out one of my headphones. Me. Can I help you? Karen's daughter. I need markers. I looked at her in confusion for a second. Me. Sorry, I don't know where they are. That was not fully a lie. Telling someone in an art store that you're looking for markers is pretty useless. Karen's daughter looks at me like I've grown a new head. You need to find me markers. I want markers. At this point, she's raising her voice a lot, and I really don't want a screaming child in front of me, so I quickly grab the last pencil I need before turning to Karen's daughter. I'm sorry, but I really can't help you. I then plugged my headphones back in and walked out of the pencil aisle. I quickly moved over to the section where they have some Copic markers, some very good but also expensive markers. After I found about 4 that I needed, my shoulder was roughly grabbed and I was turned around. I then came face to face with a very angry Karen. I was a bit shocked from being grabbed so roughly that I didn't catch what Karen said. Me, I'm sorry, what? Karen, now looking furious, the hand that was resting on my shoulder now grabbed and yanked my headphones out. How can you just wear headphones in here? How irresponsible are you? I was now very confused and getting extremely nervous. Lady, I'm sorry, but I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, don't pretend to be so innocent. You don't just get to ignore my kid and act like nothing happened. Now do your job and help my daughter. Sorry, lady, but I don't work here. I was just getting some supplies for myself. I weakly lifted up my hand that still had the pencils and markers in it. This was not the correct thing to do. Karen looked ready to slap me. Don't you try to play innocent, young lady. You obviously work here. So now you're going to help my daughter. I'll inform your manager about your behavior. Sorry, but I don't work here. Now, please get off me. This was finally when one of the employees noticed me and Karen and came over. Is everything okay here? No, this girl was ignoring my daughter. You really need to watch out for these young people you're hiring. Some people will just slack off. Now I was really starting to get annoyed and tired. Karen still hadn't taken a step back and was way too close for my liking. I already told you I don't work here. Now, please, take a step back. The employee looked at me and then at Karen before they got an angry look on their face. The employee says, "Ma'am, please back off the customers or I'm going to remove you myself." She took a step back and turned her full attention to the employee. How dare you? She was clearly the one in the wrong. The employee looked over at me and could easily see that I was starting to shake. Employee, my name, you can leave. I will handle this. I quickly thanked the employee before walking around both of them. In less than 10 seconds, I was at the cash register where I quickly placed all of the items I still had in my hand before quickly booking it to the door. I could hear Karen yelling at that poor employee before I left. I didn't go back to that store for around a month, but when I finally returned, the same employee came up to me and started to apologize for Karen's behavior. Apparently, she'd continued to yell at the employee until they had to remove her and then her crying child from the building. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.